The Albanese government heads into Christmas with a surprise victory on industrial relations. The mining giants claim, though, the changes amount to a declaration of war on business. Live to Trudy McIntosh now. Trudy, wow, it's a victory for now, but if some of these big mining companies are declaring war on the Albanese government because what they see is, secret or a sneaky deal, it's not going to help them in the lead up to the election.
Well, it won't, but they weren't going to be happy either way, Laura. They were promising to mount a campaign over summer if these changes hadn't passed yesterday. They're promising to maintain the rage anyway because they believe that they are going to be financially worse off as a result of this. It came as a surprise to see Labor suddenly get the numbers to pass almost half of their industrial relations changes on the final day of Parliament. The big businesses who've been walking the corridors here trying to convince the Senate crossbench to hold the line, unable to see this deal coming late yesterday. So what was it in the end? Well, the government able to secure the support for its closing the loopholes for labour hire laws. The big miners, BHP, claims it lifts their costs by $1.3 billion a year because they have to pay labour hire staff the same as they do employees. The government also passed the criminalisation of wage theft and PTSD support for first responders. It means a second tranche of industrial relations reforms on the way for the new year. We'll show you what's in them here. It's changes for casualisation. This is set to be a controversial area. Changes for gig economy workers. The Greens are pushing the government to implement a right to disconnect for workers so your boss can't call you out of hours, and for truck drivers imposing minimum conditions. So there's still a big fight to come on industrial relations in 2024. This was the master builders this morning. They're not happy and they believe this was a sneaky way the government went about getting this deal.
We found that the laws that were passed yesterday fundamentally flawed, but if we would known that there was a situation upon which they were agreeing to it, we would have suggested some minor changes. So that was disappointing yesterday. We say it's a breach of good governance.
Trudy, a big shake-up for the National Disability Insurance Scheme too. All the recommendations of the review will be implemented?
Well, we don't know that for now. There's leaving some legal room, Laura. Bill Shorten, the minister here, accepting this report, a crucial one to try and curb the growth in spending in the NDIS. There's 26 recommendations and the reviewers say all of them need to be implemented if the government's going to reach its own targets of curbing growth in the NDIS spending to 8% by 2026. Bill Shorten not saying any one that he doesn't agree with, but leaving himself some wiggle room. These are some of the crucial elements of the review. It says that there needs to be new support outside of the NDIS, particularly for people with autism and kids with developmental delays. Eligibility changes. At the moment, there's a list of medical conditions that provide you automatic entry to the scheme. That's going to change, and so it's going to look at functional impairments rather than just being diagnosed with a condition. They're establishing price caps and that all providers will need to be registered. So certainly the rubber hits the road now for Bill Shorten to implement this crucial landmark NDIS review, Laura. A lot of work ahead of him to try and ensure those targets for spending growth are met, and crucially that he can also keep the confidence of the disability sector.
Okay, we'll be speaking to him a little later in the program. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Trudy.